What's up, brother?
Beautiful morning.
Beautiful morning.
Good to see you.
Yeah, happy to be here. Mount Vernon.
Indeed.
When I was riding in, I don't think I've ever ridden by Calvary Cemetery before, and I could not get over the view that these dead people have.
It's a great view. There's actually a street that goes off there that's Sunset Street, and there's good sunsets up there, and it's kind of preserved, because there's no houses and whatnot, but it's pretty up there.
Yeah, felt like you could see forever. It was awesome.
You can see a ways.
Yeah.
So.
Well, introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are and where we're at.
Justin Bryant, pastor here in Mount Vernon, small little kind of country church. So.
Yeah.
Yep. We're just right in the center of Ohio almost. So.
Yeah. I did not know Centerburg was the geographical center of Ohio.
Yeah,
I've
never been there, but I guess there's like a stone that's like marking the center of Ohio. That's probably about 20 minutes from here, so just a little bit north of there.
Yeah. And we are sitting in your wilderness in the backyard.
Yeah, this shelter's been here for a while. Probably it was built in the 90s would be my guess. I can't remember without looking. And then we have about 7 acres in total. The church is on about an acre. And then over to my right, there's a wildflower meadow, which there's a good bit of stuff blooming right now. Actually, it's kind of a peak of the season. And we were just mowing it before. And it's kind of like, why are we burning up all this gas and whatnot? And so we planted a wildflower meadow, and it's starting to mature. And then last year we put in the children's playground behind me. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love this spot, and I love the idea that you guys came up with. And this is how we met, was through you developing kind of this space that's for the community, and met through our good friend Ed Caprelli. Shout out Ed.
Yes, hi Ed.
Because you were buying trees, right? Are those his trees?
Yeah, they're the bushes are good, but the deer are formidable as well. So we'll see if they ever thought about putting cages over them or something like that. Haven't done that yet, but that's really cool. Like that, it's just interesting how in buying bushes, then it's like a relationship has developed, and I'm thankful that Ed connected us. So
yeah, Ed's good at that. So good at talking.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
So.
But and then you reminded me, because I didn't remember, that almost a year to the day we're out here dedicating this. Is that right?
Yeah. Today is the 9th, and I think you and I met on July 8th of last year, and then the playground was dedicated on August 1st.
In August. Okay.
And we're actually we have a slide. We're going to add a slide to the playground, and we're trying to do that here on Saturday. Add the slide, and then we're going to try to do a play date at the playground. So I don't know that I told you that, but hopefully you can grab your family, and it's a Saturday. So So we're hoping to, keep it going with an event here in a few weeks, August 1st. So
let's kind of rehash some of your thoughts heading into developing this space into what it is now.
Well, I don't think that creating something is necessarily a linear process. And so I knew that we wanted to do something, like it was an empty field, then it was a wildflower meadow, and then I can't exactly remember how. We had been to some natural playgrounds. I know one place that my family had visited was like Stan Hewitt up in the Akron area, and they had like a natural playground area, and it was cool. And there is a natural playground where there's like a fallen log, and there's not a whole lot there, but just over on the other side of town. And we just enjoyed that. And so I think that idea kind of just gelled. So that would have been, I'm going to have to try to figure out my years here. I think that was like 2025 was the year that 2024 was kind of the idea was sort of gelling. And if I'm remembering right, we had the theme that year, because we have a theme and like a theme verse, and put it on the bulletin, and it was out of Psalm 50, and it's out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God will shine forth. So we were thinking about beauty because that was the theme for the year. So I think it was just kind of like a merging of like our family experiences, and I was really also wanting to just not be status quo at the church, like, you know, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. It's like, okay, I really want to do something new. So there was that aspect as well. So it was like almost like threads of like a quilt or something coming, you know, the theme of the year, our family experiences, not wanting to keep status quo. And I think there's been some recovery for me of my past, because I was in like the design or like art creative industry before the Lord called me in the ministry. So it was like, okay, I need to kind of get back to my roots, because like the Lord knew that I was creative and a designer before he called me. And so there was kind of that aspect as well. So I don't know if there's any more threads, but like there was kind of a lot going on, and it manifested in this children's playground.
You have this resource, right? The resource of the land, and
it's very interesting because it was basically, I mean, it was a place, but it was just an empty field. Like you could have played soccer or football or thrown a frisbee or something like that, but it's kind of, it sort of felt empty. So it's like, instead of it being empty, let's fill it with something. And then so that was the meadow, and then the playground was like, let's add something to what's here. And it was pretty cool, because someone suggested, oh, put the playground in like Google Maps or like Apple Maps or whatever. And so like in naming it and then putting a pin on the map, it's like we have literally created a space. And that was a whole lesson for me, because you're not going to put a pin down for like an empty field. So that part of the creative process, I think, is naming something as well. And if you go back into Genesis, I mean, you're going to see that God creates things, and he creates spaces, and then he fills spaces, and then he names them, and then he, of course, entrusts that to Adam as well, where Adam names, you know, oh, this is woman, and this is Eve, and so on and so forth. So I think naming is an important part of like the creative process. So that's kind of a side note, but
So I guess a lot of churches, though, when they look at a space like this, they probably would go the route of, let's play soccer or something like that. So what about you and your decision-making kind of led you to this place of choosing, let's prioritize beauty versus utility or something like that?
Well, I will confess, as I recall, the wildflower meadow was not my idea. Someone else had that idea. And like I said, we were mowing. That was taking, I can't remember, like 3 hours to mow. So it was taking a lot of time, a lot of gas, and it was just like, is this a good like stewardship? Like, are we stewarding our resources and our time like effectively? So I think someone else had the idea for the wildflower meadow. My mom and my wife are like huge into plants. They like gardening. They like flowers. I think more than like vegetable gardening, they like flowers. They like that beauty. So I mean, it definitely like fits with, and it's like if you go back to like my grandpa too on my mom's side, like it's kind of in my heritage, like plants. So I think that it wasn't my idea, but I think it like fits with kind of like my family heritage, I guess. And then I think with the natural playground, I mean, I think that goes back to the fact that I was a designer before, and if I had it to do over again, like if the Lord hadn't called me, and if I was like starting a career over again, I think I would consider being like a landscape architect. Like I love rocks, like I do have an appreciation for plants, like, and there's like the texture of the plants and all of that, and that's another. I'm mentioning Stan Hewitt again, but like they have different gardens there. There's like a Japanese garden, and there's like a pond and a fountain behind the house, and I like the water, I like the rocks, I like the plants, like I like different types of gardens, and so I think it's almost just kind of like a natural thing of just like what I enjoy doing. So again, I wouldn't say it was like a linear process, like this, then this, then this, but like when I was preparing my remarks for the opening, it's like we've been to churches that have like upwards programs, like our son played basketball there. I know there's churches that have like soup kitchens and things like that, and it's like those are great. Like I just think that like with what I grew up with the gardening and the flowers, and with my background in design and art, and then it wasn't intentional. Again, it was someone else's idea to like put in the wildflower meadow. I think it just kind of it made sense. Like at the end of it, it made sense that like we can be the church of beauty. That we can, like, if we're known in this community as being a church that is interested in beauty, then I think that beauty leading back to truth, leading back to God, leading back to like harmony and order and all things that come from God and we see them in creation, we see them in how he structures things in the word and in like the law in the church. Because it's not just visual beauty. I mean, it's like there's something beautiful about behold how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Like unity is beautiful. Yeah. It's not like a painting on the wall. It's like that's like living, breathing sculpture. So if we can be known as the church of beauty, and obviously that has to point back to God, because you can't have beauty without God. He's the origin of that. Then we're successful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was in kind of prepping for us hanging out. I was reading Ralph Waldo Emerson, a little bit of his essays, and he has an essay on nature, and in that he discusses beauty, and part of beauty is the virtue, the virtues that we can behold. And he says that God has placed on virtue beauty that would be drawn to virtue itself. Okay. Right? Which I find really interesting, because that's not, like when I look at a flower, I delight in the beauty that is the flower and its physical nature, its smell, its sight, its touch, all of those things. But virtue is more intangible, right? It's experienced, but more intangible. So, what you just said about the beauty that we see points back to God and draws us into the thoughts of these virtues. I wonder, because you've spent time in the meadow, your kids are very involved in like nature, natural things with bees and that kind of stuff. What are some of the lessons that you're learning, not necessarily just about the physical world, but the virtues that are going on in you and inside your children? What about the beauty of the natural world is revealing the beauty of the spiritual world?
I may need to ponder that a bit. I mean, there are definitely lessons. Like, I mean, there's good things in the meadow, but there's also like, I think of like the wheat and the tares. So I don't know if that's quite what you're going after, but it's like there are things in the meadow that are very good and are very natural, because we've planted like native plants. So we're not bringing stuff from elsewhere. It's like they're Ohio native plants.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of different like angles, because like there's one plant that's growing right now, wild bergamot, and you can make tea out of it. So I haven't had the tea, but like that would be something my mom would totally be into as well. So like, and then of course the bees come and they pollinate and they get the nectar and all of that. And so like I never was big on flowers growing up, and I'm still not. I can't say like I'm the biggest flower fan in the world. Like I know the gals like them, but it's just useful. And then that's a principle in design, is like form and function. So it's like flowers are just beautiful, but then they also serve a purpose of like they attract the bees in, they get the nectar, and then we have food. And so there is an aspect of like, wow, this is enjoyable, and there's an aesthetic beauty to it, but then it's like you can eat off of that as well. And I think that's, in doing beekeeping with my older son, Judah, it's really kind of made me actually appreciate flowers, because it's like they're not just beautiful, they're also like there's a functionality and they like sustain us too. And I've always been interested in seeds, and like that whole process of like the flower turns into like the seed, and then like the process like repeats, because it's not just a water cycle.
Right.
There's also like the seed and plant and like fruit and then seed cycle, and there's like, I'm kind of getting down a tangent here, but like there's a soil cycle as well, where you like, you have a banana, you pitch the peel out, and then it turns back into soil again. So there's a soil cycle, there's like a seed and fruit cycle, there's the water cycle. And I think I think there's beauty in that. These like, they're like circles essentially.
Yeah.
Like when we get a plastic thing, it basically is like, it's oil, it's plastic, it's a landfill, it's linear, and God's things are like cyclical. So I don't know if that really answers your question about like virtue, but there's so many lessons of like the wheat and the tares, like these cycles, I think it's like calming. I think it's like tranquil out here. Like if people are stressed, I think they should just come and sit out here and like you can hear the crickets chirping, or you can hear the wind on the wind chime. So I think that it's like, I think it just kind of like calms us down too. So I don't know if I'm really answering your question. Do you want to dig into that a little bit more, or am I kind of?
No, it's your answer. So no, I think to me, nature is a wonderful teacher, and I think the peace and calm that it brings opens up our minds and hearts to the things that are going on inside of us that we often don't want to give answer to. And virtue is one of those things that we behold and we see as beautiful in other people, and we desire to draw out of ourselves. So, yeah, so that's it. I think you answered it fine.
This is a different vein, but like I really enjoy going and sitting by the river, and like, I mean, our kids don't really sit by the river; they play. But I think there's something. I would say restorative. That's the word that I have with sitting by the river. It's restorative, and I think of like obviously a well-known verse, but He restores my soul. He leads me by still waters, and I think our culture is just kind of like go, 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 you know, scroll, 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 and that's busy, and it's consuming. It's like a consumer culture, and there's something about just sitting, being reflective, and I tend to be more drawn to the river, but it's like I think there's a similar thing out here with the flowers and the plants, and I think there's a humility as well, because it's like the butterflies and the birds, they need this. And I think when I was younger, it's like, oh, I don't really like care about them or whatever. It's like, well, they're God's creatures as well. And I mean, I want to have a place to live. And so like a bird wants to have a place to live, and like a butterfly, and like I need to eat, and like the birds are, and these are Jesus' teachings. Like, you know, He watches the sparrows. So I think it's just helped me go from like a busier lifestyle to like slow down, like pace slows down, like thinking about the interconnectivity of God's creation, like whether it be butterflies or birds or, I mean, snakes, rabbits, all kinds of life in that field. Whereas before, there really wasn't that much life, but the plants keep the moisture in, and then basically everything needs moisture.
Yeah.
So,
in your mind, what makes something beautiful?
That's a very good question, and I think probably a difficult one to answer, but I mean, it has to have a connection back to God. I think there has to be, and I think there has to be order to it as well. And so, like we talked about, like the water cycle, like there's an order to that. There's an order to the seeds and the growing process, and like whether it be a fruit or a flower at the end of that. And even like the seasons as well, you know, where God institutes that at the end of the flood when they get off the ark. So I think it has to be orderly. And I didn't prepare a lot for this, but I was thinking about like art, and to me there's like art and there's creativity and there's beauty. But there's some creativity that is just like weird and it's like bizarre, and it's like, so there's something different between creating for the sake of like graffiti. Like graffiti is creating, but is that when someone like does graffiti on the side of a building, is that improving the building or is that like degrading the building? So I think that with beauty, I think you're like accentuating and you're like bringing out maybe something that's there. Maybe I think photography can do this well. It's like photography can cause someone to see something that they wouldn't be able to see. The photographer sees it, they capture that, they frame it, they put it on the wall, and then it like stops you in your tracks, and it's like the work that they've done almost makes you stop and notice it. So I think that there's something fundamentally different between like graffiti versus like Michelangelo, Sistine Chapel, something like that. And actually, was chatting with one of my sons last night, and we were talking about motivation. It's like, I mean, some art is designed to just like shock, and other is designed to like get you to see something that you might not notice otherwise. So, and I mean, that's what I hope with this like pavilion, which was built as just like a picnic shelter, but like I hope people in town come out here and like eat their lunch and hear the wind chime and pick some flowers and take them home, you know? And it's like, you wouldn't have noticed it unless there was like a place to come and like sit and eat. Yeah. So, creativity needs to not just be like weird or needs to not be necessarily controversial. There's that whole side of creativity, but then there's a side of like elevating. Adorning is a good word. Yeah. Like, you take a Christmas tree, you take a tree, and then you hang all these things on it. You adorn it, and it's like you hang the lights in there, and you can like see the structure of the branches. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Taking something and then like elevating it through, like being thoughtful and like your handiwork, you know? Yeah. Because you don't just like throw the lights on. You place them. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I hadn't thought through adorning. That's a good word to kind of ponder on. I really like this question of like what makes something beautiful.
It's a very good question.
Because we will describe someone or something as beautiful without much second thought about like what is it actually that draws our attention towards it. And you know, it's when we look at birds, you know, you have bright colored birds and then you have less brightly colored birds, but ultimately, like you usually would say a bird is beautiful regardless of its color, unless it's like a turkey or something, and then it's like not that beautiful. But
I love how that one's like an insult, like you turkey. Like.
Yeah. but like I'm like, what are some things that I don't find beautiful? And I was thinking worms. But then like as you think about worms, they're actually, like when you think about them, they're actually beautiful. Maybe when you look at them, you're a bit appalled, but the part of the process that they're in, of the soil cycle and how useful they are, you're reminded that it is beautiful. And so maybe like its appearance gets negative marks, but then its usefulness gives it positive marks for beauty. So
I think we have connotations like, ooh, worms are slimy and all of that. Maybe they're in like soil that doesn't smell the best or whatever. And I don't know if I would say they're beautiful. You were talking about birds. Like, I really appreciate vultures. Like, I appreciate what they do. Yeah. And just the idea that they can soar in the air without flapping. Like, there is something kind of beautiful about that. Even though I wouldn't say like just looking at them, I'm like, wow, that's like a beautiful bird. Like, you know, you're gonna go with like a peacock or you know, like an indigo bunting or something like with color. But when you were talking there, it's like, I mean, imagine like a woman that's like a model. It's like she's like beautiful, and then she opens her mouth and she's just like spewing like filthy language. It's like, is she beautiful or not? It's like, yes, the shell maybe, but like inside, it's like if she's like vain or, you know, or like a politician, like, you know, they have those hot moment mics where they're like, they're very polished and everything, and then they're just like, well, you know, whatever, and they're just like chewing someone up and spitting them out, and then they just didn't realize the mic was on. It's like they're polished for the people. I mean, it's the hypocrisy. Yeah. Hypocrisy is ugly, so that's kind of what I was thinking. It's like, I would argue that a woman that looks beautiful but is just filthy language, that's not. There's like, something is off here. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we think about this, there's distinguishing marks of beauty, that there's like an external beauty, there's an internal beauty, there's a beauty of usefulness, there's a beauty of skill, right? Like I would say, this soaring through the sky is like, that is a beautiful gift from God, that the vulture is able to do that. When there are things in human life, though, that we struggle to understand the beauty of them, and that's kind of, I thought it was kind of a beautiful thing coming into town and being at the top of the cemetery, because one of the things that we struggle with understanding the beauty of is death, right? In that, when we think about death in the Christian viewpoint, it is beautiful in that this person is, if they're a Christian, they're going to this place in which they're connected with God. They're going to the heavenly places. But if you've ever experienced death, it doesn't feel beautiful, right? Someone you know, someone you love has died. It's really hard to remember in those moments that there's something beautiful happening. So, and you've just done a funeral. So, I know this is somewhat, fresh. I didn't give you any questions beforehand or anything like that. So maybe I should start doing that. But, in your experience with death, leading people through death, how can we as Christians maintain both the respect of the sorrow that is death, but then also point towards the beauty in death?
Well, it's just interesting how things come together, because the cemetery you mentioned, I don't do many funerals, but I was just there on Monday. Today is Thursday, and the daughter of the lady that died, she was like, that was a beautiful service. So I'm like, okay, nailed it on that word. And it is a pretty cemetery, as you were mentioning. Like, the sunsets are very beautiful from up there. It's almost like a park, other than the fact that a bunch of dead bones in the ground. But the lady that died, her name was Gloria. So like, that makes me think about glory.
Yeah.
That obviously goes back to beauty. But Gloria's daughter, my understanding, if I get the story right, is that Gloria started feeling poorly around Mother's Day in May. And her daughter lived nearby, and so she came over, and like, this was captured on her like doorbell camera or whatever, and she was like rushing over because her mom wasn't feeling well, and she fell and she broke her elbow on the way to like go help her mom. And so we're like midway, or getting close to midway through July now, and so the daughter has been off work since Mother's Day when her mom got sick until now. And she's like, I'm so thankful that I fell. I'm so thankful that I broke my elbow, because this gave me time off. I wasn't working.
Yeah.
She's a nurse, so she was coming over with like the stethoscope. She was like messing with her stethoscope and fell. But she's like, I had this time to be with my mom and to spend time with her, and it wasn't just like she died suddenly and I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. And so like, I just think that there's beauty in that. Like, is it sad that man sinned? Yes. Is it sad that God cursed the soil? Yes. Is it sad that Gloria died? Yes. But here, Brandy, her daughter, is being thankful for getting injured. Like, there's a contentment there. She's like seeing the good in a situation that, I mean, it'd be easy to be like, well, this sucks, this hurts.
Yeah.
And so I think there is, like, I think that's beautiful, and that's her testimony. I mean, I didn't even know any of this until I met with the family, and so there is this side of lamentation, but there's also the side of we're trusting that Gloria is with the Lord, and that it's a glorious day because she's in the presence of the Lord, even though there is this physical reality. I mean, it really does. It's amazing how much this ties together, because I'm preaching through 1 Peter, and in chapter 1, he's saying, like, all flesh is as grass. And so we've basically got a field of, like, grass and plants. And it doesn't look like a whole lot in December, January, February. And then it's like, there's this, like, resurrection. It comes back to life, and it's full of life right now. And so there's beauty in, like, what is dead, like, comes back out of the earth. And I love summertime. I've loved summertime for as long as I can remember, but you got to have spring before you can have summer. And I don't care for winter. I don't like being cold as much, but you got to have that death. The field gets cut down. The bush hog comes through and just bulldozes everything.
Yeah. And
that frail grass, like, it comes back to life, and it's beautiful again. It's that cycle again. So there's all these different sort of like facets to it.
Yeah.
And it really connects together because it's from one creator. So
yeah.
yeah, it's amazing how everything ties together.
Yeah. It's amazing to me that it's a type of language that is not, it's taught in that people experience it together, but it's not something like, I'm not sitting down my kids and saying, this is beautiful, this is not. They're naturally drawn towards beautiful, and they're also naturally able to find beautiful things in not beautiful circumstances,
Yeah.
right? And to me, it does point back to God, like you keep saying, that there's something about God and the way that He created that He made it so that creation is not just utilitarian or bare bones or something like that, but He endowed it with beauty, that we would be drawn into it, almost like we crave it, right? That it's something that people long for, so much so that they run off to the woods,
I mean, I think it's pretty clear beauty is divine.
Yeah.
And it's like we are drawn to divine things. I think everyone's a worshiper. I believe everyone's a worshiper.
Yeah.
So you're either a worshiper of the true God or you're an idolater. So it's like everybody's going to be, you're going to be drawn to beauty, or, back to the people that are doing graffiti, maybe they want to destroy beauty. But it's like they notice, you know what I mean? It's like, well, this is worth destroying or whatever, vandalism.
Yeah.
But kids just have, there's this innocence, there's this purity with kids. I mean, everyone, I think, fairly well recognizes that. Like, so when we go to the river, my kids will pick out rocks. It just looks like a bunch of gravel base. It's Ohio. How pretty is this? They'll be like, look at this rock. It's like, wow, there's sparkles in it, or has really cool texture or really cool color. And you can just go through, you could do that all day long, and they just look together, they look ordinary. But when you pick one and you pick it up and you observe it, that's another thing that's important, is taking the time to again, slow down and observe. Mm-hmm. And that's part of a challenge in our society. We're not, scrolling is not observing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to take time, you have to slow down and be what am I looking at? Where does this come from? And so on and so forth. But back to the rocks, it almost reminds me of fingerprints or whatever. Every fingerprint is unique. Every rock is unique, and everyone sometimes they're split open, and it's the two halves. Sometimes that can be really cool. They have these almost stories or something like that. If we slow down and we look at them, but mm-hmm. That's where it kind of blows your mind. It's God knows every rock. He knows the texture of every rock, and there's these masterpieces everywhere if we just slow down and observe. And the kids are good at that.
Yeah.
And we're paying bills and getting the car fixed, and oh, the drain's clogged and all. I gotta whatever. Got to get to the bank and all this stuff, and we can lose sight of that as adults. Mm-hmm. The kids haven't. They haven't gotten into the cares of the world, the cares of this life yet.
Yeah. Do you think the busyness is what has allowed a world that is somewhat absent of beauty? When I look at the new houses being built, they're ugly, right? No offense to people who just bought a $400,000 house, but they're all ugly. They fall apart in 10 years, down to the doorknobs, right? You see the people who post pictures of these ornate doorknobs or lamps.
Yeah.
And now we have these essentialism lamps that are just boring. Do you think it's the busyness that has allowed our culture to go that way, or?
I mean, we have to point out that the church has a role in this as well. When I was in college, I went to Italy, and I studied in Italy, and in Florence, Italy, and obviously it's Catholic. I think pervasively Catholic, and some of these buildings are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was actually just thinking about one the other day. My older brother's over in Europe right now, so I'm kind of in my mind, I'm kind of reliving that trip. That was 2003 that I was there. But it's, I believe it's San Spirito in Florence, Italy. Very interesting church. And the front of it is like never got finished. The facade of the church never got finished. So it looks like super plain. And you go inside and it is just, I'm getting like goosebumps like thinking about it. It's totally filled with light. And they have like natural stone from the area, Pietra Serena, if you're Italian, sorry. I probably just like butchered that. But like the colors, the light, like it's glorious. And I see church buildings go, new builds. And it's basically like a pole barn.
Yeah.
And then it's like the windows are like this because they fit between studs. It's cheap.
Yep.
And a gentler way would say, like, guys, this isn't the way. And a more harsh response would be like, I'm offended.
Sure.
Because, like, read the second half of Exodus. I know you have. It's like all about beauty. It's like, these are the colors, like purple and scarlet and blue and like gold and silver and like of hammered work. And like I've put my spirit into, I can't remember the guy's name, but like the artisan, you know, and his compadre. And it's like, it's all about beauty. It's for anyone that's listening to this that's an interior designer, it's like second half of Exodus is like God's interior design for his house.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we're going to throw up a pole barn. And so hopefully what we're doing here is a little bit of pushing back against that.
Right.
And I have seen articles on that churches need to be beautiful. And I wholeheartedly agree. And I'm confident God does as well, based on the second half of Exodus.
Yeah.
And so the church has a responsibility to show culture what it should be. And there's opportunities being lost for sure. And it's like, don't be cheap. Like, put money into the build. It's not, the church is not the building, but the church is pointing us to God. Revelation 21, New Jerusalem sounds beautiful, colorful, transparent, like filled with light. Obviously the tabernacle, the temple. And so I'm sure the Garden of Eden, I'm sure it wasn't just like drab and like gray. Like it was, had to have been beautiful.
Fruitful.
So, fruitful.
Yeah. Variety.
Yes. So I think the church should be doing a better job showing beauty. And like Isaiah chapter 6, the Lord in his temple, like that, doesn't that sound like majestic?
Yeah.
I don't think that was like a pole, like the Lord's throne in a pole barn. Like no, like Solomon's pillars, like the bronze pillars, like.
Yeah, I like to fend against dualism, right? Separating the spirit and the body. I don't like keeping those two things separate, because when you look at this meadow, which I know this will be audio for most people listening, so you can't see it, but it's just gorgeous. And this entire time, I've been seeing butterflies float around, and you just see the breeze flowing through the flowers. And for me to say that it's only the spirit that matters would be wrong, right? I do think our buildings matter, and I think the things that we go to create, like if you're a carpenter or a metal worker or a machinist, a potter, it should be beautiful work. You should put your God-given talent and spirit into the work that you're creating to make this world a more beautiful place, because the physical things that you create do direct people's attention towards the God who created you, right? But I also think that sometimes when we have this conversation, it's primarily only about the building. It also ties back into this conversation about virtue, right? Where it's like, God has placed his spirit to reside in us, right? How important then for us and our bodies, our temples that is our body, to be beautiful for people to see. Yeah,
reminds me of a clip. I was a pianist, and this guy was, I would say, technically very talented, and he just had this look on his face, and it was very good music, but I just didn't think that his heart was in it. And I'm sure that I've had those moments. I know I've had those moments when I'm preaching, and it's like I could be saying beautiful, like, poetic words out of the Bible, and I try to stop and ask myself, do I believe what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you can say something wonderful, but if you don't believe it, then it's like hollow.
Yeah.
So I agree with what you're saying, and I think you're right, because, like, as the body without the spirit is dead, like, when we separate physical and spiritual things, I think it is death. And so it can't just be all spiritual and not be physical, but it can't be all physical and not spiritual. It has to be the blending of those as well. But it comes back to, like I said, like, belief, like, motivation, like, what is the motivation for this work?
Yeah.
It's like I'm creating something. And kind of back to the conversation about the cemetery as well, not a Christian concept. It's a Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, where they, like, cups and stuff get broken, and they repair them, and they put gold in the cracks. Have you seen it before?
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool, because I think that's the beauty in your life. Like, you've had sin, you've had, like, difficulties, like, you've had days where you've been frustrated. Like, I've certainly had sin in my life. I've complained. Like, the beauty is, like, you complain, like, it breaks, and then God puts you back together, and then you become grateful. And it's like, the gold of, like, the wabi-sabi is, like, this was broken, and we took the time to repair it. And that's what God does. We're broken people. He takes time to repair us. And we have these, like, scars, whether it be a scar, like, on our skin, or whether it be, like, a scar kind of, like, on our heart. And it's like there's character there, you know? And it's like Jesus is like, look how much I love you. It's like, we wouldn't say, like, a hole in someone's, like, hand is beautiful. It's like, that's how much I love you. I love you that much. Or it'd be like the same thing if there was some like, accident or something like that, and you were, like, helping your kids, and you got, like, maybe even, like, lost a limb or whatever, and you're like, you know, or you're, like, maimed or something like that. Was that beautiful? Like, I'm maimed because I was, like, saving your life. I'm maimed because it's like, well, how is that not beautiful? Like, you know what I mean? You're not whole, like, you came out of your mama, but it's like, I sacrificed for you. Like, I think there's beauty in that. And that's there's generosity, there's selflessness. I think that's kind of getting back to your virtue question. It's like, my body's not whole, but it's not whole for a good reason. And for good virtues, good purposes. But that the person that's going to do that, or like a firefighter that's going to run into a building and maybe get injured, they're going to do that because they love people, they care about people.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
So if we want to make the world a more beautiful place, which I think we should, I think that should be a desire of ours, and I think most people, if they stopped and thought about it, it's something that's a very high value, that they crave it. So if we want to make the world a more beautiful place, Pastor Justin, what can we do to make the world a more beautiful place?
I think get to church, get to a good church, be around other believers, get in the Word, just seek to be beautiful yourself. You mentioned earlier before we were recording that your brother's into pottery, and it's like, God is the potter, I am the clay. And so it's like, if you know anything about pottery, you don't want the clay to be too wet, you don't want it to be too dry. And so this is obviously going back to, like, Adam as the clay. So it's like, be good clay and let the potter shape you. And if you're broken, then, like, let him put you back together, put the gold in there. Just celebrate hey, I was broken, and, you know, Apostle Paul, anyone? Like, persecute the church of God. Like, get to church, get in the Word, sponge up the Word. You have to be connected to truth. Because if you're not connected to truth, what's coming out is not going to be. It's going to be of a lower quality. You may be able to, you know, technically perfect, but your heart's not going to be in it. Your heart has to be changed. So I think those are good places to start. Be a sponge, soak up divine things. If beauty is divine, which I'm sure that it is, I'm confident that it is, then you better be soaking up divine things so when you get wrung out, good is going to come out of you.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly where I wanted to wrap with that concept that if we believe that beauty is divine and it comes from God, and you want to make the world a more beautiful place, you better be around beauty, which is God, So I think that these are, to me, I try and think of like the highest virtues, and to me it has to be truth and beauty. Like those two things together just tie so much of our experience in life. And so
I would add holiness as well, because it's like there's a purity and there's a cleanliness there. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. That's truth telling you beauty, holiness. There are these like top tier.
Yeah.
Like I almost wonder if they're like essences of God, and like I think beauty could very well be in that top tier.
Yeah.
So, but it's not something that's typically on everybody's radar.
Yep. Stop and think about it.
Thanks for the questions.
Hey, you're a beautiful man.
Oh.
Thank you. It's good to hang out with you.
Blushing over here, you turkey.
All right. See ya.
Bye.